Welcome back to the Imperfection is Beauty podcast. I'm really excited today because this is going to be such a good episode. I always say that, but you guys need to take notes. You guys need to put this on replay. This is going to be a really, really good episode and a very knowledgeable one. I have Cecilia Wiscombe today with me, and she is the money whisperer, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to talk about this. I just get excited to talk about money. I am Cecilia Wiscombe. I'm a lash artist, a former corporate accountant and small business bookkeeper. And I teach other lash artists and beauty professionals how to manage their money in their business so that they can pay less money in taxes, deduct as much as possible, and so they can keep more money in their pocket. So that's my goal.
Yes, and this is very unique. So what made you get into lashing from being an accountant?
So since high school, I wanted to be an esthetician. I always wanted to be an esthetician. But being an immigrant and of immigrant parents, it was kind of not the path that was expected of me. And so it kind of just stayed as a little side passion that I never really pursued. And so I went to college and then just kind of went down the career corporate path. And when I got laid off my job in 2014 and we lost our daughter when I was 23 weeks pregnant, it just really shifted things for me mentally. It was like, I am miserable at my job. And I used to love it. I don't love it anymore. And I want to do something that fulfills me because life can't be just about clocking in, clocking out.
Ain't
And
that the
I
truth?
looked at my husband, right? Life is too short for that. And so I looked at my husband and I said, I don't want to go back to accounting. I'm burned out. I'm done. I want to go do something that makes me feel good. So I'm enrolling in beauty school. And it was just that simple. And I enrolled. I started a month later. I enrolled, and then one of the girls there was, she already had a salon doing lash extensions. I didn't know much about it. And so she did my lashes, and I was like, holy cow, like this is life changing. Like, how did I not know about this before? And I asked her to teach me. She taught me. It was a really crappy training because, what 9 years ago, it's so much has changed in 9 years, and not to her, like she was crappy. It's just, here, this is what you do. But there was no talk about retention, humidity, temperature, how you use gluten, none of that. But I kept at it. I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. And 3 months into the program, I got pregnant with my now 8-year-old. And so I couldn't go work somewhere. And so I just kept doing lashes, even though what I thought I wanted to do were facials and waxing. And lashing was really what helped me make some kind of income when I was pregnant with my son and I wouldn't get hired anywhere. And it just grew from there. It just very quickly grew. And 9 years later, here I am.
I love that. Wow. You're just like, I'm done. And I don't blame you. That's how I was one day. I got my lashes done and I was like, how do I do this? I want to get into this. I want to go, because I knew obviously I had to go to school for something, but I'd always wanted to go to beauty school. And then it was just not the right timing. And then when the right timing is, it's like you just do it. You just go for it 100%. And you have such a supportive husband. That's amazing.
Yes.
And then, so how did you incorporate your accounting into your business? And then what made you wanting to start talking about it to the other entrepreneurs on Instagram and just out in social in general?
Yeah, I mean, I had my QuickBooks pretty much set up from the beginning, even when I wasn't making money, because I needed to track everything. Because
Okay.
when we file our taxes, I needed all of my deductions to offset what my husband gets taken out from his W-2 paycheck because he's an employee. And
Mm-hmm.
so, which I had the wonderful advantage of knowing that because of my small bookkeeping experience.
Mm-hmm.
So when I would talk to other lash artists and other students in the class, um, they had no idea how they were going to do it. They just knew that they wanted to do it. And so we would talk
Mm-hmm.
about it like, okay, well, this is what you need to do. And just little tips here and there. And I realized over the years, I realized that I loved talking about this because it helped people understand their business, not just the technical side of what they were doing. And then when I started joining the Facebook groups, like the Facebook Lash groups, those support groups, whatever they're called,
Mm-hmm.
um, so many questions in there. Like, what should I charge? Like, I'm in this area. Like, that's the number one question when it comes to money. That's the number one question that I
Yes.
see is, I just started lashing. How much should I charge? I am charging this much, but the girl down the street is charging this much. Am I charging too much? Am I charging too little? Or how do I raise my prices? I don't want to lose clients. And so I'm in there like, this is what you need to do. And so it just,
Mm-hmm.
again, it was like another confirmation, like another sign for me that I really felt such a strong passion to help others in the industry understand the back end side of the business more than just like go take another lash training. Well, yeah, you should, but how are you going to pay for it? And so it always kind of came back to that. Okay, you want to take a lash training, it's $1,800. How are you going to pay for it? And then it was like, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to set up a sinking fund where every month you're going to put this amount of money away, and so that you have that for next year when so and so comes into town or the training is available or whatever, or so that you can travel to it and make it a little mini weekend getaway and you can expense it. Like, I don't know, it just
Mm-hmm.
thinks that's just kind of how it came about. But I am, like I said earlier, is I had the advantage of having had that background. And it breaks my heart to see so many in our industry struggling in this area when they're so good at their technique, but they're struggling financially, um, because they don't know this aspect of the business.
It's so true. Okay, so if I was a brand new lash artist and I just got my like certificate, like I'm enrolled in school, what would you suggest I do? Like what steps? Because there are so many. Like I don't even know where to start.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to vary state by state, county by county, right? Because I'm in Southern
Very
California,
true.
I'm in Orange County. Some cities require a business license, some cities don't require it. Some cities require certain kinds of permits for personal services, some cities don't. So it will vary on where you are. But the primary thing is having a plan, not just a financial plan in the sense of like you need to have money set aside or whatever. That comes. That's
Hmm.
part of the plan. But knowing what you want to do, your plan for your business. So if you're brand new, okay, what do you want to do? How many days a week do you want to work? How many clients do you want to see per day? Um, are you going to work from your home? That's going to be less overhead. Are you going to work renting a booth somewhere? Are you going to go to, a sola suite? Those are all of the things that we need to plan so that when it comes time to it, then you can implement the money into that plan. It's almost whenever I tell somebody like to plan financially in their business, I always work backwards. It's always like, okay, well, I want to make $50,000 in the year. I don't go week by week. I go backwards. It's like, okay, I want to make 50,000. What do I need to do? What are the steps I need to take to get to that 50,000? And
Hmm.
so as a brand new artist, yes, there are steps that we need to take, and it will take time and a lot of implementing of your work in there. It doesn't happen overnight, but just charging. Don't do work for free. Charge.
Exactly.
You
Yes,
can't grow a business even when you're starting out without charging.
exactly. As an accountant, this is a question that I always had when I was in school. So when I was a lash or like enrolled in school before I even had my license, I was already buying lash supplies. That is technically not a write off until we actually register our LLC and receive a tax ID, correct?
Well, not everybody needs to file an LLC. Not everyone should file an LLC. So
Explain.
it's,
This is interesting.
yeah, it is on a case by case basis.
Okay.
You, an LLC, what it does is it separates you from the business so that your
Mhm.
personal assets are protected.
Okay.
Now, this is beneficial if you are over a certain revenue income threshold. Typically, if
Hmm.
you're over 125,000, 150,000 a year, you should consider an LLC. If you're a homeowner, if you have large, asset accounts like stocks, investment accounts, those kind of things, then you should consider separating that from your business so that if you are ever liable for anything or if you're sued or anything like that, it's not, your personal assets are not affected, are not touched. So,
Okay.
but not everybody needs to do that because an LLC, it costs money. And depending on the type of LLC that you register under, it will be more work in the tax filing process. So the CPA has to file some other forms
Hmm.
which cost you more money, and sometimes and it can
Hmm.
cost you up to about $1,000 just to file your taxes. And you have
That's
to,
what
as
I
an
pay.
LLC, yeah, and as an LLC, you have to pay the yearly LLC fee. In California, is $800 a year.
Oof.
So, are those fees justifiable for what you're making? So no,
Hmm.
you don't have to be an LLC or an S corp or anything like that for you to start expensing business or education expenses, transactions. So
Okay.
if I'm in school, number one, that the supplies that I buy for school, so like your kit, any extra supplies that you buy, those are all tax deductible. Um, so yeah, even if you're not making an income, but you register your business, like you get a business license, then yeah, you can
Okay.
start deducting that. Um, in California, as a service provider, you cannot have an LLC. That is a tax law in California. So me, I can either be a sole proprietor or a corporation of some kind, usually in like an S corp. We cannot be an LLC in California. Why? I honestly I don't know. I'm not a CPA, so I'm not 100% sure on the whys. But so many people in California misclassify their tax entity, um, because LLC is quicker, cheaper than doing an S corp, where they could have just stayed as a sole proprietor and still expense everything they need to expense. I know it's
So
tricky. Tax
they
laws are different in every state.
it is very tricky, and that's why I always say like invest in a CPA. Invest in a
Yes.
CPA because that they are going to save your butt 10 times
Mm-hmm.
over.
Yeah.
Just
Don't try to do it
it
yourself.
it's too much, and they know the ins and outs and the laws and what they can write off and not write off.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, okay, so it's state by state. yeah, state by state is going to be different for the parts of the
Yeah.
LLC. So everybody should be getting a business license.
Yes, like registering your business, a business license if you need it. Now, again, some cities don't even require that, but
So you,
get
okay.
your DBA, your fictitious business name. The very first step should be getting your DBA, your doing business as name. So I'm Cecilia Wiscombe, and I started doing business as Lash Artistry. So that's the name of my shop. Um, and that's just a DBA, that's just a fictitious business name. And with that, then you go and you file for your tax entity. So that will be either your LLC or your S corp. But you need to start with your DBA or your fictitious business name, which you do with your county clerk recorder. And with that, you can open your business checking and savings account. You can apply for a business credit card. That is the first step to starting your business, no matter where you are.
Interesting. Okay. I
Yeah.
don't even have a DBA. I went straight to an LLC
Yeah.
when
So
I started.
right. But again, not everybody needs to be an LLC. So,
Exactly. That's why I'm like, don't do it if you don't need to. Like, there's other ways around it because I was in Oregon where I was. And when I
hmm
came here to Arizona, like, it scares me. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
Like, I'm very thankful for my CPA, but everything is different here,
Different.
down
Yeah.
to their laws, taxes. And I'm like, it freaks me out. This
Yeah.
is why I have Cami, my tax lady. But I
Yeah.
need to get a DBA. I do have an LLC.
Well,
So you
if you
guys,
have an
I'm sitting here
LLC, you
taking notes
probably
myself.
don't.
Oh, I
Well,
don't.
again,
Okay.
well, but see, that's the thing is, I'm not 100% familiar with Arizona laws. So those are the questions. When
Mhm.
somebody comes and asks me those kinds of questions, I can give you the guideline of what you need to do, but I wouldn't give them CPA advice like I wouldn't give them legal advice, right? So
Got
it's
it.
like, okay, this is kind of like your checklist. Now, everybody, let's say in California, you start with this, but there's always that disclaimer. Go talk to your CPA. You need a CPA as a
Yes.
business owner. You need a CPA no matter whether you are in the red at the end of the year or profiting. You need a CPA so that they can advise you on these things. Just like, again, you wouldn't go to your mechanic for legal advice, so those are the things I'm very there are certain boundaries. I can advise you on money management, on organizing your money, on what you can deduct, what the best ways of making sure that you are deducting, expensing as much of your, business transactions as possible. But I cannot advise you on your tax entity. That's a CPA's job.
Got it. Okay. That's a lot.
It's a
Wow.
lot.
This is why
Yeah.
you need a CPA is because they can really help direct you what is the correct filing things
Mm-hmm.
when it comes
Yeah.
to the business. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
clear as day when I registered for my LLC, I literally looked at my boyfriend and I was like, so now I'm a business owner? Like I thought it was just a lash artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's all. I just
Yep.
wanted to become a lash artist. I didn't know that I had to do all these trillion other things when it came to the business and the filing and the taxes. And I
No,
got
you're a business
inherited
owner.
my CPA. So I'm very lucky that I got my
Yeah.
CPA that I do because she knows her stuff very well. So I'm very thankful
Yeah.
for it. But like Cecilia said, you guys, it is the best investment that you can make for yourself is investing in a CPA.
It is. And then when you do things right and you organize everything correctly throughout the year. So then when you go see your CPA, you are not going to pay those additional fees because they have to go back and fix something, because they have to go back and redo something because you didn't do it, or that they have to do it for you when you could have done it. And so um, you have to do a lot of the work to make it easier for your CPA so that you are not stressed and anxious when you go file your taxes. So it's already stressful enough to file taxes even when you have your stuff organized. It's like
Yes.
Make it easier on yourself, do the work that's required as a business owner.
Yes, and this is where I actually found QuickBooks. Is my first year that I filed. I remember sitting in the back of our salon and there was receipts everywhere. I swear, like maybe like 50 feet around me, they were just in piles. That took me 2 days, and by the end of it, I was like in tears. And my CPA was like, "You have to get QuickBooks, Michelle. Like this is miserable for you. Like just
Yeah. I
do it."
mean,
Because I'm like,
tell me, tell me, how overwhelmed were you in those 2 days? I want to hear how you felt having nothing in place, but
oh,
still required to do something by law.
I was crying, legit crying, and I was
Yeah.
dreading it. Like every year, like even this year, I'm like a little nervous just because I'll be filing fully in Arizona and all that stuff. But I mean, that's why I pay my CPA, is because she knows
Mm-hmm.
the laws. She knows the ins and the outs, to where I just need to have my stuff in line and give her the numbers and have everything categorized, and she's going
Yeah.
to do her job.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
but I will invest that $1,000 every single year because I will not go back to how I was that first year. It
Yeah.
was hell. Like
Yeah.
it was miserable.
And the average lash artist doesn't have inventory like you that you have your products that you
Yes.
distribute, that you sell. So the average lash artist has maybe 50 transactions per month that they need to categorize and organize. That's
Hmm.
nothing. That will take them, once they understand how QuickBooks works and they understand the categories. Those 50 transactions every month will take them maybe 20 minutes to categorize, reconcile the month, and it's like, I'm done for the month. Like that's it. And then
Hmm.
they can look at their numbers and it's like, okay, this month my profit was less. Like, well, let's see how many clients did I see this month compared to last month. And so it helps you, kind of gives you that snapshot of like how your business is doing in that moment. But when you're just gathering receipts and you wait until the end of the year, you have no idea until the very end how your business did. Did I actually even make any money? Just because you have money in the bank doesn't mean your business is profiting. It just means you have money
Ain't
in the
that the
bank.
truth?
You know what I mean? A lot of people are like, well, I have
Hmm.
money in the bank. And then it's like, well, then you actually run the numbers and it's like, oh, I didn't make any money. Or the other thing that I see is they didn't expense enough. They missed a lot of expenses. And so suddenly they're showing like a $25,000 profit because they didn't put in all of their expenses in their spreadsheet, or they lost receipts, or something happened, or they paid cash. Please don't pay cash for business expenses. They paid cash for something and it just got lost somewhere in there. So now instead of having a profit of 10,000 and paying taxes on 10,000, they are now having to pay taxes on 25,000 because they didn't have
Hmm.
anything organized throughout the year. And their shoebox, of receipts just ain't cutting it
Whew.
anymore. Not this day and age.
No, no,
Not with the
no,
technology
no
that we
shoebox.
have. No, throw the damn shoebox away. Just get it done
Hmm.
the right way. Save yourself the money and stress.
It's completely worth it, and it's so easy because you can hook up your business bank account, which everyone should be getting, and have that because it's gonna
Yep.
just, correct me if I'm wrong. Is it required for the business to have a separate business banking account versus your personal?
So it's not a law. It's not
Okay.
a finite requirement. However, if you don't have things separated, it can cause some issues because if you have everything combined in one account, your personal and your business, how do you know out of that money, when you look at it, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
how much did I spend in my business? I don't know. How much did I make in my business? I don't know. Because it's all just,
Jumbled.
commingled together. Yep. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's a lot harder to organize, and it's a lot easier for things to fall through the cracks when you are manually having to you go through your statement and it's like personal, business, 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 personal. Who wants to do that? So another thing is if you get audited, knock on wood, right? If you get audited
Mm-hmm.
and the IRS comes in and they're taking a look at everything, they may make you liable for a lot of other expenses. So for example, if you said, well, this was a business expense, and then they look at it and it's in your personal account, we're like, well, this seems like a personal, expense, not a business. Then they're going to tax you on that when you try to deduct it in your business when you filed. So from an IRS aspect point of view, you want to have things separated. As a business owner that needs to understand your business financials so that you can make business decisions, so that you can grow your business in the future, yes, you should have it separate. Absolutely.
I did that my first year, and that's when I like was broke down. I was like, this is so tedious. We thought lashes were tedious. It was miserable having to, I swear I had 100 pages I had to print
Yeah.
and highlight personal
Oh.
business, personal business. And that's when I
Oof.
was like, nope. Grandma, who's your CPA? Because I
Yeah.
need her. Because I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was
And you probably paid
no
that
good.
CPA more that first year because you had nothing organized. You probably paid her a lot more than you do now, that she doesn't have to do all of that work for you.
Yep.
CPAs will charge you per hour, and it can range anywhere from 350 to 650 per hour to do all of that work that you could have done on your own, at 20, 30 minutes a month. So,
And so I think a lot of people do get CPA and a bookkeeper confused. Can you
mhm.
explain that for me?
Yeah, so a bookkeeper is pretty much what you would do on your own. They are the data entry people, right? So they are the ones that take all of your information, all of your transactions, and they organize it for you in the correct buckets, in the correct categories, and they are able to tell you, depending on to what extent you hire them for, because some of them have different tiers of services that they provide. But some of them will then every month, it's like, okay, here are your reports, your financial reports. So they just click, 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 and they email you your profit and loss statement, your balance sheet, and whatever else you need to know that you would like to know. That's a bookkeeper, data entry, and helping you understand your numbers for the month, quarter, year. A CPA is like the person that understands the IRS laws, so that when you file, you do things, you're in compliance with the IRS. So think of it as a paralegal and an attorney. So
Ooh, that's a good way to
if
put it.
yeah, and so if I need to go to the IRS with some kind of issue, or if I get a letter for an audit, or something needs to get revised, or there's some kind of legal issue, my CPA will represent me. My CPA will be the one to represent me with the IRS, with whatever they need. They're my liaison. They're essentially my attorney. My bookkeeper, unless they have a CPA, then they wouldn't be charging bookkeeper, rates. But um, a bookkeeper would not represent me with the IRS. They would not. They could file taxes. A lot of them are very capable and are very knowledgeable and experienced to file my taxes. But when it comes to the legalities of it, a CPA typically will be more informed with that information.
Okay, and they do like continuing education every year, don't they? And
They do,
have
yeah,
to
they
they have to
do.
keep up on laws and stuff. So
Yeah. And a
they
lot
know
of
their
times
stuff.
laws, they do. And a lot of times, different, uh, throughout the years, something can change with um, a new cabinet in our government can change some of the laws. A new president can make some changes, tax law changes. It happens constantly. So they do have education requirements so that they can then represent their clients with the updated information. So
Hmm.
yeah, a CPA is a must.
Everyone just needs to get one and invest in QuickBooks because that's going to help you. Just like Cecilia said, like it's going to help you also save some money with that
Hmm.
CPA in the long run, and it's just going to make your life so much easier, so much more organized.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
end of the year, it's going to save you so much time.
Yeah. And even if you do hire a bookkeeper, eventually you're busy enough, you should have somebody, outsource what you don't want to do.
Exactly.
Even though I understand my QuickBooks, even though I know how to do all of that, I outsourced it because I'm focusing on other areas of my business. However, just because you're outsourcing it does not mean you shouldn't understand it. You should be able to go into your QuickBooks account, even if your bookkeeper is the one that maintains it, and you should know where to click to see what you've spent in a certain category. Did I profit last month? What is my comparison? So, for example, you know what? I'm given the opportunity to invest in something, or a a leasing office became available, and oh my gosh, that seems like a great opportunity. Can I afford it? You should be able to go
Hmm.
into your QuickBooks account and understand your own numbers and pull your own reports without relying on a bookkeeper to explain it to you. So even if you outsource your bookkeeping, you should know how to use QuickBooks regardless. Always.
Hmm. Exactly. And you also mentioned that you do money management. I like to,
Yeah, so
yeah, I want to
so
definitely talk about that.
what I do is I guide um, a lot of my coaching clients, and I talk about this a lot in social media and in my newsletters, is understanding how to use your money. So, understanding the different ways of saving, the different ways of and reinvesting into your business, the different ways you can pay down debt. And so that's my goal for this year, is really bringing that more in the front um, part of the education side of social media for my business, is really bringing that knowledge more out there, not just QuickBooks, because money management, you can have QuickBooks all you want, but if you don't know how to manage your money, and if you don't know how to approach your money and how to have a relationship with your money, then it doesn't matter whether you know QuickBooks or not. And so that's my goal, is really helping lash artists uh, develop an intimate relationship with their money so that they can be comfortable with it. And managing money is not something we're born knowing. It's not something that we just innately know. It's a
Mm-mm.
learned, it girl, my money habits in the past, mm, at one point, my credit score was in the 500s. I
Mm-hmm.
could not save a penny if I tried, because I was just spending, 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 and then sitting there scratching my head like, where did all my money go? So
Mm-hmm.
just because I eventually started doing corporate accounting and small business bookkeeping, and now I know how to manage the money in my business, doesn't mean that I always knew that, because it's a habit. It's a learned habit. Managing money. It's not something, like I said, it's not something that we just know how to do. And it's having um, intimate relationship with money so that you can create those habits. Like, you know what? I love myself enough to save and not splurge on something I don't need. I love myself enough to save to take my family on a vacation, or to hire somebody to grow my business, or to move into a larger space and, do education or whatever it is. So it
Mm-hmm.
really, money management is, I don't approach it like a wealth management, or like a financial advisor, because that's not what I am. But
Mm-hmm.
it's more about just the little simple techniques to help lash artists uh, get comfortable with dealing with their money. Because so many of us are not comfortable dealing with money. We kind of like just want to sink our head in the sand, like, la, 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 la. I have money in the bank, so everything is okay.
No, it's so true. And they, you know, we, I feel like maybe I see a little bit less now, but a while ago it was always make 100K in your first year as a lash
Yes.
artist.
Oh, the six
I,
revenue, six figure, make six figures.
and I don't, so I was a general manager for McDonald's for years. Like, so I was always like an assistant. So I was always doing inventories, running reports, doing a P&L, and I understand profit and loss. A lot of people, a lot of younger women that come in this industry, this is their first job. They literally are straight out of high school into esthetician school, into lashing. They have no customer service. Like, you can learn that, but you don't know the business aspect of it. They
Hmm.
don't know what a P&L is. They don't know, about making profit before loss, or
Yeah.
they just see all these numbers on Instagram and it's like, no, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
So, can you explain a little bit about like a P&L and actually being able to save money and also mindset with our money, because that's a big thing too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think honestly, before before you can even start talking about saving money and a P&L and L and all of that, um, the mindset aspect has to come along with it, if not, pretty close to the top. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that you have to be confident about it, or feel fully comfortable. It's a journey. And especially when
Yes.
we're really young and we're now making, money, and it's not just in a paycheck where they take out what needs to be taken out. We are now fully responsible with what to do with that money.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, if you made, you know, let's say $5,000 that month, that $5,000 is not all yours to keep. And so the mindset aspect of this is having boundaries with it, and limits. Like, okay, I deserve to make this money, and I can make more money, and I'm going to be responsible with this money. I'm not just going to blow it all away because I have $5,000 in the bank. And then when it comes to profit and loss, a profit and loss statement, it just tells you where your money is going, where your money came from, so that you can analyze your expenses. So in a profit and loss, you've got your categories. You've got your income at the top, and you've got all of your expenses at the bottom. So all the money that you made at the top, let's say in the year $50,000, and then that's your gross income. You made 50. Your business, not you, your business received $50,000 that year. And then you have all of your expenses, all of the tax deductions, right? Expensible transactions, your cell phone that you use for your business, the rent that you pay for where you work, the supplies, marketing, your Spotify, your Canva, like all of those subscriptions, the insurance you pay, all of that. You have everything categorized correctly. Those are your expenses. And so at the very bottom, you have your $50,000 and then you have $30,000 in expenses. So the difference is $20,000. That means your business profited $20,000. That's what your business made. And hopefully that includes you paying yourself. Hopefully, that's what's left over for the business after you paid yourself. That's another thing, is we're not paying ourselves. So what I teach
Nope.
one is profit, setting aside money for your profit on top of anything else. Like your business, you shouldn't you shouldn't plan for profit after you've taken all of your expenses out. You should have the money that your profit, you should decide, this is what I'm going to profit based on what I make. So I'm going to set that aside, and you're going to adjust your expenses after. You're going to adjust how much you're spending so that you can have this amount of profit every single year. It's called the Profit First Method. And it's a book by Mike Wakolowitz. I can never say his last name, but it is just such a different way of having a spending plan by doing that. The traditional accounting is, this is what you made, this is what you're expensing, and this is what you have left over. So your profit left over is reliant on what you spent, rather than the other way around. Is, no, I'm going to profit this and I'm going to adjust my expenses so that this doesn't suffer. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
it's the opposite. So I love teaching that method, because then when you learn to adjust your expenses, you will see your profits, you will see your money growing rather than
Mm-hmm.
seeing more expenses. And I'll give you an example. My fourth year in business was my first 6-figure revenue year. My previous year, my third year, second year, I was in the negative. My third year were 5 figures, like high 5 figures. My fourth year, I was so excited. It was like, oh, I hit the 6-figure mark. But when I did my comparison, my side-by-side comparison, at the end of the year, my profits were exactly the same. So my profit for my 5-figure year was the same as my profit in my 6-figure. Why? Because I wasn't watching my numbers. I was making more money, and so I was spending more money.
Mm-hmm.
I was making more money, so I felt like I could spend more money. But the money that I spent didn't go towards, not all of it, most of it didn't go towards profiting. Most of it didn't go towards a savings account. Most of it didn't go towards that. Some of it was spent responsibly, but some of it I also blew away. And so it goes back to understanding having a P&L so that you can understand, like, oh, I made 6 figures, but did you really make any money? That's
Exactly.
why having everything in QuickBooks and running your own reports like a P&L will help you see that. Having your receipts in a shoebox or having it in a spreadsheet is not going to give you that kind of clear understanding of your business and the health of your finances in your business. But
It
again,
is so true.
yeah. And again, it goes back to how you feel about handling your money. Most of us are so afraid, like, what if I go in there and I don't see what I thought I was going to see? We are so afraid of looking at your P&L or looking at your QuickBooks and like, oh my gosh, I thought I made more. Or, oh my gosh, I'm really not doing as well as I should be doing. We're so afraid of that rather than, okay, I'm going to do it. Yep, I didn't do as good. Now what can I do to make it better? But we can't get better financially until we understand what we are not doing well right now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's so true. It's
So,
like you have to understand where you're spending so you can actually adjust it, so you can be like, okay, I don't need to spend X amount of dollars on trying all these different brands, or
right.
I don't need to go take this $3,000 class that I just took a course like 2 or 3 months ago. There's just
Yes.
so much out there, and a lot of it is too like mindset with our money. A lot of people, well, myself, like I would get scared to look at my numbers. Like we just, I feel like as America, we don't have the best mindset around money at all,
No.
and it's like not talked about. It's very frowned upon, like as
Yeah.
growing up, we hear money doesn't grow on trees, you have to work hard for money, all this. So you get that like engraved in your brain, and then you become a business
Yeah.
owner, you're like, there's like that lack of that money scarcity, and then you're just
Uh-huh.
pushing it all away. And it's really like you just have to know that the universe will always take care of you. You'll always be
Yeah.
taken care of. And just, but actually seeing those numbers in person and not just being like, oh, I'm going to deal with it later. Like, no, you have to bite the bullet. You have to do it now, because
Yeah.
later you're going to be in the whole $20,000.
Oh, totally. The universe is always going to be there for you, but you have to take action. You have to do
Yes.
your part. You have to like it's a 50-50 relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're just sitting there expecting, well, the universe is going to, like it's going to make it happen, but not if you're just sitting there not wanting to deal with your money. So
Exactly.
you're kind of rejecting what the universe can do for you if you're not dealing with what you need to so that you can open up that pathway to receiving more. And so it's really important to heal, to go in that healing journey with money, which the majority of us have some sort of level of, money traumas. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's really important to really get yourself. I don't think I'll ever be fully healed. I don't think we'll ever be fully healed, but it's a mental um, thought process, changing your perspective about it. Like instead of saying, oh my God, I have to go and do my QuickBooks, and like, oh my God, I have to go pay taxes, and oh my God, I don't want to deal with, like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this, or it's changing your perception, it's changing your thought process to, I'm excited to learn something new. I am excited that even though I have to pay taxes, it means my business profited. I am so excited to finally understand my numbers, finally understand how my business is doing. And one way of thinking about it makes me like shrivel up and like, like just going to curl into a ball in a corner and cry. And the other one, it helps me sit up straighter, and I want to smile because even though I don't know how to do it, that curiosity, that excitement and wanting to do it shifts my energy into a more positive direction. And that
Mm-hmm.
for me has been what has helped heal my money fears. I'm excited about doing this. I'm excited about that $3,000 training that I'm going to take next year after I start putting $200 a month away for that training,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so I think that's um, just those tiny little mental shifts can really play such a big role in how we approach money.
Mm-hmm.
But it comes from us.
It's
Nobody can do it. Your CPA can't do that for you. Your clients, you can see 10 clients a day, $100 per client. But if you don't have a good relationship with money, you're never going to see it in the bank. It'll be fleeting.
exactly. Mm-hmm. As quick as you
Mm.
make it, it's going to be out the door. Some kind of expense will come up. Something, you're going to have like a flat
Yes.
tire. Your car is
Oh,
going to break down. Something's going to happen.
yep. Yep.
That's
That
just how it works.
And it's happened to me, whenever I get into that super fearful, scared, like, oh my God, I have that money aside. And guess what happened? We bought our house and our furnace and AC unit went out, and, there goes $10,000 to replace both at the same time. So it's like, then it's like, well, what was all of that for? So it's so true. And I know it can sound very, very woo woo and all of that, but oh gosh, you just, what you think comes true.
It is so
Where your
true.
thoughts go, it just comes right back to you.
Hmm. It's really, it's a lot. And I, like we were talking before we were recording, I've been on like a whole self-healing journey in the last like what, 4 years, basically right around the time that I started my business. Cause I just like, my best friend passed from ovarian cancer and I met her through McDonald's. So when she passed, I was like, I'm out. Like she always told me, she's
Yeah.
like, you're gonna do better than that. And I was like, I'm out. Like I really want to do this lash thing. So that's when I was just like, I'm going to put my all into it. And money
Yeah.
was scary, but then like you have to, it
So
all comes
scary.
down to your mindset. The more that you have that fear mentality, then you're just going to push everything away. And I always talk about like, people are like, you charge $300 a full set. And I'm like, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And now I can charge even more too, because I have more years and more skills underneath my belt. But I knew I was worth that 300. You have to
Mm-hmm.
know your worth, as well as you have to believe that you're worth that amount. If you don't believe it,
That,
it's not
yeah.
going to come. And you have to believe that you're worth your clients too.
Yeah. And then if I could add a little bit more of the logical aspect to that, because I think they go hand in hand, is not only do you have to believe in that, and by the way, what a beautiful gift that your friend left you with, to give you that push and that love to tell you you can do better. And
Thank you.
what a gift that you gave her by following through with that.
Right? Oh yeah. I
Like,
was
so
like, we're
that's just,
doing
oh, I just
this.
got chills. I just got chills. Um,
Yeah.
but to go along with what you said is, you could be worth $1,000 an hour, but if you
Mm-hmm.
don't, if you're not managing your money, you could be spending that $1,000 right back out, and you're still going to be left with nothing. So you
It's
have to
so
know
true.
that you have to know that, one, yes, we deserve to be financially abundant, happy, joyful, at peace human beings, but we also
Mm-hmm.
have to have the habits to have the lifestyle that goes along with what we deserve to have.
It's so true.
I don't
Like
know
you
if that.
said earlier, yeah, it totally makes sense because you have to take action. Because, like you said, you can
Hmm.
have the mindset, you can have all of that, but if you're not actually physically taking action in like what you want to do to your goals, you're never gonna. The universe is gonna be like, well, okay, cool. You say you're gonna do it, but you don't do anything.
Yeah. So here I am. I'm
It's
waiting. I'm waiting for
yeah,
you
exactly. It's
to
like
open the door, but you're not opening the
exactly,
door. Yeah. And
exactly.
fear is so normal. I think a lot of people are afraid to be afraid. Like,
Hmm.
they don't take the steps to do something because they don't want to have the fear of the unknown, the fear of what they don't know. Or but you can either let fear propel you forward, or you can have fear hold you back. It's what you do with it. What I'm doing right now, the shifts that I'm taking in my business, the changes that I'm making in my business are scary as fuck. I am scared. Like,
Right?
I wake up and it's like, okay, are these butterflies? Is it like anxiety? Is it like, anticipation? What is it? I'm afraid. We all are. But it's what we do with it that's going to make the changes in your business, which will then be the changes in yourself. Like, you will see it. And so whenever I start to have those fears, I go back into that mental self-talk. Okay, I am excited for these changes. Yes, it's going to require these extra steps. It is going to require extra hours. But I am so excited of these changes because it will help so many more people, because it will reach more people that need this information. You know, whatever it is that you need to tell yourself to take, to continue to take action even through the fear, because fear
Mhm.
is an illusion and fear is temporary. Then you're going to get to that. And then there's going to be something new, and there's going to be some fear and some resistance. But again, you got to keep going through it, because
Mhm.
it's temporary. Otherwise, you're going to be where you are, and then what? You're going to look back
And
in
then you're
life
going
and
to
it's
be
like, oh, I
miserable.
should have done it. Yeah. I don't want to look back in my life thinking I should have done it. I want to look back in my life and say, I did it. I may have failed at some, but I succeeded at others, and I made an impact.
Exactly. It's so
So,
true. And a lot of people get so scared because of everything that they're like, "Oh, well, my makeup's not done. My hair's not perfect. I don't want to show my face on Instagram and all this." And I'm like, that's how you're gonna gain clients unless you're gonna go out handing business cards to people.
yeah,
Social media, I mean, that's how, if you want to get free
yeah.
advertisement, like social media is where it's at. And you have to
Just
show
be
your face. You have
yourself.
to get over that fear. Exactly. There's nothing wrong with it. I wasn't comfortable on
Yeah,
camera. It took a long time. And sometimes
yeah,
I get nervous on camera, and it's all good. We're human, but you have to push
yeah.
past the fear. So
Hmm.
I love that.
Yeah. And not every client is going to be for me. And so if a client sees
Yes.
me like that and they don't feel a connection with me, it's okay, because they're not meant for me, because there are so many more. So the clients that come to me are perfect for me, and I am perfect for them. And
Hmm.
so we're not going to please everybody. Not everybody's going to like what I do, how I do it, how I say it, my style. And that's okay, because there are others out there that are doing the same thing, and they may resonate with somebody else. So they're not my competition. They're just not meant
Exactly.
for me. And that's another way of thinking about it. Otherwise, I'd be miserable all the time.
Hmm. Yeah. People don't understand that not every client's meant for you, and that's okay.
Hmm.
I know that I
It's
had
so
higher
okay.
prices, but I wanted it to be that way. So that's why I chose it to
Hmm.
be that way. And that's totally okay. You don't have to have super low prices. If you want somebody that's more
No.
a higher end client, that's totally okay too.
Yeah. Just don't complain about it, because that's a decision you made. Just don't complain about it.
Ex- Please don't complain about it, because it's just,
Yeah.
it, it's crazy to me how much I see people go on Instagram and just complain about their clients. And I'm just like, do you not see
Hmm.
what they can do? Like, they are paying attention to you.
Hmm.
They are like, is she talking about me? You know?
Yeah.
I'm like, please
Yeah.
don't ever go on Instagram and
Yeah.
complain about your clients.
Yeah. Yeah. It's icky.
It's horrible, and it's
Yeah.
just not professional at all. So I'm just like, no, thank you.
No, it
But
isn't.
how can people find you? First of all, I feel like everybody needs to go follow Cecilia, like right now, because I was going through her Instagram right before we started recording, and I was telling her, I was like, your first, even just your first 10 posts are so informational, and it's free information, guys. Free. Like,
Yeah.
it's free.
Yeah.
Get on there.
Yeah. It's thank you. Yes, my Instagram handle is at Cecilia Wiscombe. And you can also find me at ceciliawiscombe.com. And I offer an in-depth course for lash artists on how to use QuickBooks. So the course is called Money Mastery Blueprint, where I teach lash artists how to use QuickBooks for their business. So it's very it's made for lash artists and beauty professionals. So it's, if you're a hairdresser, a nail artist, a facialist, it's for you as well. And so you can go and get information about that. I am launching a mini course in the next few weeks called Fast Track Your Books. And so it's a little bit more of a bite size. Like if you're in a time crunch and you need to get your numbers ready, I teach you a way to do it in under 2 hours, to get everything organized for the year in under 2 hours, while still
Ooh.
recommending that to learn QuickBooks so that you don't have to do that again. And so again, an Excel sheet, it'll just organize things for you. QuickBooks organizes, analyzes, and tells you exactly what's going on in your business. An Excel spreadsheet cannot do that. So that's coming up. I also have a free I also have a free webinar coming up in the next couple of weeks. So it's in my it's on my Instagram page. You can get details about that. And I teach you how to price your services correctly, not just based on what, you know, Susan down the street is charging and, you know, Casey over there is charging that much. So maybe I should be in the middle, or I will get more clients if I charge less. No. So none of that anymore.
We're
so
not doing
this
that.
free,
Yeah, we're not doing that.
Let's level up your pricing strategy. That's exactly what it is. I teach you a pricing strategy so that you are not just covering your expenses with what you charge, but you are able to then increase it so that you can start profiting and, you know, paying yourself. So that's coming up. So get on, follow me on Instagram so you can get more details about that. So yeah, that's where they can find me. And I have a discount code for anybody listening, and you can get 10% off the Money Mastery QuickBooks course. And then we can put it in the notes, but we can put Imperfection Beauty 10, and they can get 10% off the QuickBooks course for being a podcast listener.
Yes. And then so you're going to be doing is it pricing strategy?
Mm-hmm.
When are you going to be doing that?
So registration opens the 17th. 15th.
The 17th
yes. Registration opens the 17th, and the free webinar will be on the 24th of this month of January. Yep. So it will be at January 24th at 12 p.m. And again, the registration opens the 17th, and it'll be via Zoom, and they will also get the replay. If for whatever reason they're not able to attend, they will get the replay of the free webinar as well.
And do they register on Instagram?
Yes, the registration link will be available on the 17th on Instagram. And then my newsletter subscribers will get it via email. We'll get all of the details and the registration link via email as well. And usually my email subscribers get all of the details of everything that is going to be coming up. They get it first before social media.
Perfect. I love this. This was such a good episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, like I have my little notes here. Like I have quite a few notes here. So myself, and everyone, please follow her. Like she's got, like I said, I just was on the first page, haven't even scrolled down yet. So I'm excited to see what other content she has. Just go and just indulge in all of her content, because guess what? All of us have to file taxes if you're doing things legit way, and you want to do the things right and not have one people that scare me, IRS. I don't play around when it comes to the IRS. No,
that's so true.
That is the one person I'm like, I don't
poke
care.
The bear.
It's really not worth it to me. I have a home, you know what I mean? Business. It's just not worth it. At all. So definitely.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Everyone go follow her. And I'm really excited about this free web or masterclass. because that
Yes.
everyone struggles with pricing. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's the number one thing that my students, they're like, well, what should I charge? I don't know what to price myself at. So this is a perfect opportunity to take a free
Hmm.
class with Cecilia. So I'm really
Yes.
excited.
Yes.
Thank
Can't
you
wait to
so
see
much for
everybody.
coming.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you. All right.